Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at the crimson vial in her trembling hands, her reflection distorted in its glass surface. "You don't understand what this will do to you, David. You'll stop being human." Commander David Chen reached for the serum, his jaw set with grim determination. Through the reinforced viewport behind them, the Catherian fleet descended like metallic locusts upon Earth's orbital defense platforms. Humanity's last stand was measured in hours, not days. "Maybe that's exactly what we need," he said quietly. The serum had been humanity's most classified project, a genetic cocktail derived from captured Catherian biosamples, enhanced with synthetic compounds that would rewrite human DNA at the cellular level. The test subjects had all died screaming, their bodies unable to handle the transformation, all except one. Subject 47 had survived, but what emerged from the medical bay was no longer recognizably human. It possessed reflexes that defied physics, strength that could crush steel, and an intelligence that operated on a level beyond human comprehension. Most terrifying of all, it had developed an insatiable hunger, not for food, but for the hunt. "The neural pathways will restructure completely," Elena continued, her voice breaking. "Your empathy centers will shut down. Your limbic system will be rewired for pure predatory instinct. You'll become everything we evolved away from." David watched another human ship explode in silent fire against the black of space. The Catherians had swept through 12 systems in as many months, their biomechanical armies adapting to every weapon, every strategy humanity deployed. They were perfect killing machines, evolved over millions of years to be the apex predators of the galaxy. But they had never faced what humans could become. "How many people are left on Earth?" David asked. 40 billion, give or take. "And if I don't take this serum?" Elena's silence was answer enough. David uncapped the vial. The liquid inside seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat, as if alive and eager. He'd read the classified reports about Subject 47, how it had torn through the containment facility, leaving no survivors, how it had escaped into the city and vanished, becoming something that stalked the shadows. The reports also mentioned what happened to the Catherian scouts it had encountered. "There might not be a way back," Elena whispered. "Once the transformation is complete, you won't be David Chen anymore. You'll be something else, something that hunts." David smiled grimly. "The Catherians hunted us across the galaxy. They thought they were the ultimate predators." He raised the vial to his lips. "Time to show them what real predators look like." The serum burned like liquid fire as it coursed through his system. David dropped to his knees, his body convulsing, as cellular structures began to collapse and rebuild themselves. His bones lengthened and strengthened, his muscles expanding with dense fibers that pulsed with alien energy. His senses sharpened until he could hear Elena's heartbeat, smell her fear sweat, feel the electromagnetic signatures of the approaching enemy fleet. When the transformation was complete, David stood slowly. He moved with fluid grace, every motion precise and economical. His eyes, once warm brown, now held flecks of gold that seemed to glow in the laboratory's harsh lighting. "David." Elena's voice seemed to come from very far away. He turned to look at her, and she gasped. The face was still recognizably his, but there was something else there now. An alien intelligence that evaluated everything as either predator, prey, or irrelevant. "I remember you," he said, his voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been there before. "You were important to the thing I used to be." Elena backed away slowly. "What are you now?" David considered the question with the same clinical interest a scientist might show when examining a specimen. "I am what humanity needs to survive. I am adaptation given form. I am the answer to every species that thought we were weak." The facilities alarms began screaming as Catherian drop pods slammed into the complex above them. David's head tilted, tracking the movement of enemies through multiple floors of reinforced concrete and steel. 17 biomechanical constructs, he said conversationally. Advanced scouts with adaptive armor and neural link coordination. His lips curved in something that might have been a smile, if smiles could carry such predatory intent. They think they're hunting. He moved toward the elevator with inhuman speed, leaving Elena alone in the laboratory. As the doors closed, she heard him whisper something that chilled her to the bone. Now they learn what it means to be prey. The Catherian scouts had perfected warfare over millennia. They moved through the facility's corridors with mechanical precision, their bioscanners detecting human life signs scattered throughout the complex. Their mission was simple: eliminate all resistance and secure the research data. They never saw David coming. The first scout died in perfect silence, its armored head twisted at an impossible angle. The second managed a half-second burst of alarm pheromones before David's claws opened its throat. By the time the remaining 15 realized they were being hunted, it was already too late. David moved through the facility like a force of nature, exploiting every weakness in their coordination, every gap in their formation. He struck from shadows, from ventilation shafts, from angles that should have been impossible to achieve. The Catherians' adaptive systems, so effective against human military tactics, found nothing to adapt to. David wasn't following any recognizable combat doctrine. He was operating on pure instinct, the distilled essence of millions of years of predatory evolution compressed into enhanced human form. When the last scout fell, David stood among the carnage and felt something he'd never experienced as a human: complete satisfaction. Not the satisfaction of duty fulfilled or battle won, but the deep primal contentment of a successful hunt. Above him, the Catherian fleet continued its assault on Earth's defenses. 40 billion humans looked to the stars with terror, not knowing that salvation wore a human face but carried an alien soul. David began to hunt his way toward the surface, and with each step, humanity's answer to the Catherians grew stronger. Elena had been right. He was no longer human. He was something far more dangerous.